Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter. Welcome into a 30-man battle royal using Tommy Vogels, wrestling's finest. In this battle royal, we have 30 of the legendary WCW wrestlers because of the legendary death of Ted Turner, who bought Jim Crockett Productions and made WCW in the World Championship Wrestling. So he was in the wrestling business. He ended up, you know, leading WCW into the Monday Night War with WWF, and he was bankrolling these guys, and that's why people like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Razor Ramon and Diesel, to use their WWF names, would come to WCW for the big money contracts and all that. Ted Turner also was big for the Atlanta Braves. I already did an Atlanta Braves baseball thing for PC Replay Baseball. So anyway, we're doing a 30-man battle royal. No Royal Rumble shit. Everyone is in the same fight. 30 participants. And I tried to go one per letter of the alphabet and then just added some according to there's a WCW website for top 10 um, WCW wrestlers ever. And of course, well, I was down to 25, and then after I added the letter Z, so I looked at the five highest rated WCW wrestlers on the WWE.com list and added them in. So anyway, here's the list. Number one is Tank Abbott. Yeah, he's a UFC guy, but he was pretty much a WCW jobber, if you will. Johnny B. Bad, aka Mark Merrill. He was pretty good. He was a good flamboyant wrestler and all that. Not that way, people. Ted DiBiase, coming over from WWF for the Guaranteed Money, part of the NWO, which was weird. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who had a WCW run. People forget about that. He was part of Team Canada. He actually battled cancer while beyond the WCW card, but he beat it. Bobby Eaton, he was a pretty good WCW guy back in the early 90s. Ric Flair, woo! Yeah, Ric Flair, WCW icon and all that. Came back to WCW in 93 after a year and a half with WWF, and then, he did well. The Giant, aka The Big Show, well, WWF called him The Big Show, but yeah, he was known as The Giant, who was Andre's son in kayfabe. He was pretty good. He even won the heavyweight title against Hulk Hogan, even though that he was supposed to be killed off in a solo match, monster truck match. Bret Hart, who had a WCW run, it wasn't the best everywhere. Of course, WCW gave Bret Hart the money, and Vince allowed him to go, but wanted Hart to lose to Shawn Michaels. Hart said he would drop the title in Raw, well, on Raw the next night and go to WCW, but he got screwed. Hulk Hogan, not Hollywood, well, kind of Hollywood Hulk Hogan. He left WWF for WCW in 1994, which was big. He was given the heavyweight belt, and he was a good guy. And then in '96, he decided to change course and become part of the New World Order with Hall and Nash. Um, Jeff Jarrett, who was decent and all that too. I know he's had some lackluster success in WWE, and he's had some success helping TNA become the new number two behind WWE for a while. But yeah, Jeff Jarrett did do some WCW stuff. Nikita Koloff, going back to the old days, the Jim Crockett days in the 1980s. Lex Luger, pretty good wrestler in his own mind. Fly WWE for WCW, first night of Monday Night Nitro. He made a surprise appearance. Nobody knew except for Luger, and that brought things big. Ernest the Cat Miller, WCW commissioner for a few times. Kevin Nash, legendary player in WWE. He was Diesel and all that. They went to WCW alongside Scott Hall and Hulk Hogan, part of the Outsiders. But yeah, he was tall and rugged. Paul Orndorff, who did have a WCW run, he actually had that strange thing with a therapist who helped him change his music to Wonderful, which was kind of a self sufficient song, but it pleased everyone. And Orndorff did okay in WCW. Diamond Dallas Page, who actually was a valet or manager more so than a wrestler, but he came out of that and became a wrestler in the mid 90s and did some decency and all that. Of course, the DP Yoga. Roddy Piper, who had a WCW run himself, feuding with Hulk Hogan, but yeah, Piper was okay. Harley Race, going back to the NWA Jim Crockett performances, You can't call WCW without Harley Race. Randy Macho Man Savage coming over after 94 put on the commentary booth. He still had some wrestling left in him, and WCW proved he did, and WWE was stupid for getting rid of him. Booker T, the five-time WCW champion. He did okay in WWE as well. Big Fan Fader, who was a fan favorite in WCW, not so much in WWE. Sid Vicious, also known as Sid Justice, of course, or Sid as we know him. But yeah, Sid, second last pay per view of WCW is when he decided to do a thing off the top rope and snapped his leg. That was not his decision. It was WCW saying you need more top rope people, even though that Sid's like freaking 6'11". Barry Windham, who was a good WCW wrestler in his own right. Alex Wright as well in WCW. He was pretty good. Larry Sabisco, WCW commentator, but he also could wrestle. And then, of course, 5 people who I didn't use the letters for. Bill Goldberg. Goldberg. Hey, it's Goldberg. He had a 173 match winning streak. And he missed WCW compared to Hogan. Bill Goldberg. Scott Hall, outsider, former Razor Ramon, who's no longer with us. Dean Malenko, who was a pretty good WCW wrestler in his own right. Ron Simmons, the first African American champion in WCW history. And Scott Steiner, who ended up being a pretty good wrestler, but not in WWE, because he would flip his lines. Steiner math. All right, so we have 30 men. That's Rumble. Our first, Ron Simmons, well, he survives. 7-4. Orndorff is the first eliminated. DiBiase got him. They're not officially thing, but yeah. DiBiase makes the 10 count. Orndorff does not. So Orndorff is out. Ted DiBiase should be happy. And then Dean Malenko is out. He was beating on Goldberg, but he lost his focus and Goldberg got rid of Malenko. So Dean Malenko is gone. Next is a 4-2. Ron Simmons survives. Triple Jeff Jarrett surrounded by Wyndham, Goldberg, and Hogan. Jarrett is out. He thought he was eliminated, but yeah. Jeff Jarrett is OUT. 4-0. Hogan survives. The Giant survives. 9-2. Duggan is gone. Duggan and Scott Hall are battling, but Duggan goes over the top rope, so Scott Hall gets rid of Duggan. So Hacksaw's out. Double team, but DDP survives somehow. 9-5. Fishes is gone. Harley Race whips Sid Fishes into another wrestler, so Harley Race is an icon. So that's 5 down. No Duggan, Jarrett, Orndorff, Fishes, or Malenko. Next up, Wyndham. He survives. And then Goldberg. Wow. He gets hit by Harley Race. Goldberg's pissed, but Harley Race is WCW iconic. Next up, 2-7. Giant survives. 2-7. Scott Hall survives. 7-2. Alex Wright survives. 7 minutes through. Harley Race is out. He got a turnbuckle, but he's got pushed off by DiBiase of all people. So Harley Race ends his day, which sucks. And then Barry Windham concentrated on someone else, but he got attacked by Ernest the Cat Miller. So Ernest Miller is still in. That is like so stupid. Ernest Miller should have been the first one out. And Nikita Koloff is gone. He was beating on DDP, but then he lost his balance, and DDP got him at 8:54. So another one done. Ron Simmons. And then Savage is gone, attacked by Tank Abbott. So Tank Abbott's got a massive elimination. So we're down to 20. We're down to Abbott, Johnny B, DiBiase, Eden, Flair, Giant, Hart, Hogan, Luger, Miller, Nash, DDP, Piper, Booker T, Fader, Wright, Sabisco, Hall, Simmons, and Steiner. Through 9:43. Tank Abbott survives. Foove. Piper's gone. He got taken out by Ron Simmons. So yeah, Ron Simmons, the first African American heavyweight champion in any of the major things, does it. So Piper is gone. Haha. Triple threat. Steiner knew he's done. Booker T, Fader, and Scott Hall beat Steiner. So Steiner math is that he had a 10% chance to be eliminated. Next up is the Giant, and he survives. Triple threat. Bobby Eaton is booted. Bobby Eaton. I think he was William Regal's tag partner at one time. But yeah, Bobby Eaton, Miller, Hogan, and Booker T were all over, and Bobby Eaton is out. Next up, Hulk Hogan. Oh my God, Hogan is out. He thought he. Alex Wright shockingly takes Hulk Hogan out at 12:35. Unreal. Alex Wright. Man, the WCW icons may not be safe for long. DDP survives though. Elimination. Tank Abbott survives. Ernest the Cat finally is gone. Bret Hart is the one who takes down the cat. So Ernest is gone. We're down to 9. We're down to 15. We're halfway there. Abbott, Bad, DiBiase, Flair, Giant, Hart, Luger, Nash, DDP, Booker T, Fader, Wright, Sabisco, Hall, Simmons. Double team. Fader got double teamed by Flair and Luger. Well, if you're going out to two very good legends. So Fader's gone. Well, his weight distribution. Booker T survives that battle. And Bret Hart is gone. He got attacked by Ric Flair. Well, Ric Flair is a true WCW icon, and Bret Hart isn't. So, okay, whatever. And then Luger falls. He gets attacked by Sabisco. 8 seconds later, Luger's gone. So Larry Sabisco does his job. And then Ric Flair is gone, staggered. Sabisco does it again, and Larry Sabisco is getting a lot of boos. Larry Land is not getting a lot of cheers. Alex Wright survives. So Ron Simmons survives. Double team, Johnny B. Bad gets double teamed by DDP and Alex Wright. So Johnny B. Bad's gone. So we're now down to 10. In 17 minutes of action, we are down to 10. We're down to Tank Abbott, Ted DiBiase, The Giant, a.k.a. The Big Show, Kevin Nash, Diamond Dallas Page, Booker T, Alex Wright, Larry Sabisco, Scott Hall, and Ron Simmons. Of course, Kevin Nash, a.k.a. Diesel, and Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon. Next up, Tank Abbott somehow survives against the Giant. Damn it. Sabisco survives against DDP. Ron Simmons survives. Double team. Scott Hall somehow survives the double team. How? Alex Wright's gone. He got attacked by Sabisco. So Larry Sabisco somehow in this tournament. And Booker T is gone. He thought he could get the upper hand on DDP, but he's gone. So the 5-time WCW champ is limited by Diamond Dallas Page. Well, DDP is a good wrestler. Triple team. DDP gets whacked by Hall, Giant, and Nash. So DDP knew his time was up. So we're down to 7. Sabisco survives. Boo. Kevin Nash couldn't do it. Well, Ron Simmons is gone thanks to DiBiase for the 10 count. So Ted DiBiase gets him. So DiBiase, Tank Abbott, and Larry Sabisco somehow are still in, which the Giant, Nash, and Hall were WCW icons. Double team, Kevin Nash gets eliminated by Hall and Abbott. So Tank Abbott's in the final 5. Unreal. So is Larry Sabisco. Never would have guessed that. Triple team, Tank Abbott is gone. Everyone just beat him up on it. You knew Tank Abbott was gone. So down to the final 4. DiBiase, The Giant, Larry Sabisco, and Scott Hall. 7-7, DiBiase survives. 1-5, DiBiase again survives. They were going for him. 9-2, The Giant gets attacked by Ted DiBiase. So DiBiase gets the upper hand on The Giant. Best luck in WWE. So we're down to DiBiase, Sabisco, and Hall. All money should be on Scott Hall. 1-6, DiBiase survives. 7-3, Sabisco is eliminated by DiBiase. Well, Larry World's gone, so it's now down to Ted DiBiase, who only got to WCW thanks to being promised money by Eric Bischoff. And Scott Hall aka Razor Ramon. And DiBiase survives somehow. And DiBiase survives again. Bill Scott Hall survives. And that's it. Scott Hall Kachi. Forearm smash by Scott Hall over DiBiase. And Scott Hall, you know him in WWE as Razor Ramon. You know him as an outsider in WCW. So he wins the WCW Battle Royal. I don't think you would have guessed Scott Hall. You should be lucky. I went to that WWE thing about Scott Hall to put him in. So DiBiase probably would have won it. But yeah, Scott Hall wins the title. Congratulations. I know it's a few years too late, but yeah, Scott Hall is your winner. So yeah, for Paul Orndorff, you see the times of him being eliminated and all that. Yeah, we had 8 seconds between Hart and Luger's elimination. 20 seconds there. 14 seconds between Simmons and Nash. It took 26 minutes, 4 seconds, but Scott Hall is your champion of the Battle Royal. So that is all. And that's it. The champion is Scott Hall. And anyway, rest in peace, Ted Turner. You brought wrestling rivalries to the forefront. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.